Well, welcome again to our YouTube channel, Soaring Together. I'm Denise.
And I'm Ricky.
And we're glad that you've joined us on our journey as we're soaring together. In this video, we want to share with you our trip to Crazy Horse. For those of you who are not familiar with Crazy Horse is a memorial on the mountain. It's under construction on a private held land in the Black Hills in Custer County, South Dakota. We are Ricky and Denise, loving our retirement life together, traveling the United States. Look for us in our Freightliner M2 truck, pulling our fifth wheel toy hauler as we are soaring together.
Time I went to the Napa store.
Well, what are we doing here?
Oh, we're fixing Ricky's shoe.
We're fixing these $1.98 Harley boots.
His boot came apart.
Poor Ricky's boot.
We had to stop at the auto store and get some glue because his sole of his boot was coming apart. Those nice expensive Harley boots. And what did we use there, Don?
We used 3M weather strip adhesive glue. But yellow.
Yellow.
Yeah.
I told the guy,
No,
he said,
no,
oh, I
just
got
keep
yellow.
pressure on it.
I said, I don't care if it's purple.
Keep it glued and
Yeah.
try not to scuff. Don't do that. That just ripped it all up. Got to keep it flat until it dries.
Okay, I'm good.
All right, so we'll be back at noontime to pick you up.
Yeah, okay.
So we stopped at the car wash and to wash the bike, and Ricky discovered his sole on his Harley boot was coming apart. So instead of going 20 miles back to the trailer to swap boots, we stopped at an auto parts store and Don got some auto 3M glue and we're gluing his boot.
I guess I'll put all 200 pounds on it.
I was going to say that would be good because you should be doing your Eagle parking lot thing with your glue in your hand. There's only thing I can think of that would be quick to fix that.
Yeah,
was this
good.
stuff. So that one, yeah, that's good. Yeah, you'll be all right. Just try not to do this because it'll slide. That's it. Hop around it.
So the Crazy Horse on the mountain, once it's completed, it will depict the Lakota warrior, Crazy Horse, riding a horse and pointing to his tribal land.
I started my tour with that big old hole there in the mountain. That was finished up in early 1970. They had to have that back then because they needed some way to get some heavy equipment to this side of the mountain. Wasn't going to go up on this side, it was just a sheer straight up and down. So they ended up going, we got one road going up the back side, that's the only road. We get over there, that's where we turn around. You'll see that it's so much more gradual, that's why they did it. And then they just blasted board on through this side of the mountain. Poor Chalk said it was the hardest work that they had done up to this point in time. Took a little under 2 years. They removed more rock from that tunnel than all of Mount Rushmore put together. These guys working up here, if we get a lightning strike today within 15 miles of the mountain, everybody's got to go back down. They have to leave the mountain. Me and all my guests, we got to go back to where we boarded up. We have to wait a half hour. If they get another lightning strike within 15 miles, they start that half hour over. guys say they get more work done in the winter because the only thing that shuts them down then is below 0 temperature because everything up there runs on diesel fuel. We got 15 guys that work up there. That's how they make their bread and butter. 40 hours a week. You saw the movie, you know, we had a caterpillar go off the top of this mountain some years ago. Plummeted 90 feet. The operator was one of Korchak's boys, Casimir's, and they claim he fell 60 to 70 feet onto the only soft dirt spot on this mountain. His father was one of the witnesses. Yeah, go see the movie. You'll see where they interviewed him about it. But that was over here off this backside. Right up here is the caterpillar, actually. And also, this is the turnaround. This is where the only road is that goes up this mountain. When Korchak moved back here, he came here in 1947. They say he showed up with a Jeep and an Army surplus tent. And he come down here, this was a brand new structure. 2 guys were living here, father and son. Their intentions were to do some prospecting. So they worked everything out with Korchak. Korchak ended up hiring the boy to actually build or drill a few wells for the family. And he worked in the Welcome Center. And the quarry. Let me tell you about the quarry. A little over 1,000 acres. Man, I don't know how many miles of roads, but a lot. They got, like here to our left, these little offshoots that go to pump houses or whatever. Every stretch of these roads, every bit of this road was built and is maintained by what comes off this mountain. 15 guys up here, they don't want no more than that. And it's a full-time job for those dudes. When they end up getting, like when they get sent down because of lightning, if it's for an hour or 2, which it usually is, man, it just drags on. There's a place down below the restaurant. It goes down like 3 stories, and it's called the rope room. So that when I went down there, there's like 10 ropes hanging from the ceiling, and these guys are constantly being trained and keep their certification up on their rappelling. Because here's what they're doing. Their hand, their wrist, that's in the 5-year plan. It is so close, it's spot on to be done. The 10-year plan for the whole rest of the carving started last year. So 9 years from now, you should be able to come back. Everything from the bottom of the arm up to the top of the head should be done. So that's on both sides of the head, 40 feet of flowing hair, both sides of the head. If you look up there, there's no rock to remove for that. They just got to start carving the hair. The rest of the shoulder. So you're going to have the shoulder, bicep, tricep, elbow, forearm, wrist and hand, fingers almost complete. They said they will have started on the horse's mane and the horse's face. That's 9 years.
How long will the horse be?
Huh?
How long will the horse be? How long would the horse be?
Oh, I don't know, but here's pretty wild. When he died in 1982, Korchak, he totally expected. All along he thought the horse's head was going to be first. So then Ruth took over, his wife, and they said she molded over for almost like 2 years. She's like, why are we not doing Crazy Horse? He's only half the size of his horse. So she ended up going to the board. They decided, yeah, let's do the face. So they unveiled the face June 3rd, 1998. And they decided to go ahead and put basically all hands on deck, I'd say around 84 or 85, and concentrated on the face. But what's cool is that face got unveiled 50 years to the day of the very first blast. June 3rd, 1948 was the very first blast. They blasted 10 tons off, and it was pretty cool because they had Chief Henry Standing Bear, who was the one that ended up getting Korchak to come and do this, but there was also present for that blast 5 Lakota elders that were 5 Lakota warriors that were at the Battle of Little Bighorn. Also, a lot of people don't realize it, but the hand when he was pointing at where my dead people lie was more like holding a gun basically, and they ended up, engineers decided to turn it so that there would be more of the hand laying on the horse's mane to offset weight. Because I just told somebody else on the first bus, if you got binoculars, look up his left nostril. There's a seismic activity box up in there. Looks uncomfortable. You'll see it with that big old thing. They also put in that tunnel up in the corner on the other side, like if we were coming through from the back side this way, top right corner, they put a monitoring system up there last year. They're concerned. They haven't blasted here since 2015 because of where they're working on the arm. They're worried about fracture and beyond repair. So they're, you know, they lightened up on that, and they have monitoring systems, mostly for the safety of the workers, but just to know what's going on inside of the mountain.
You turn it the other way.
Shall I get out or not?
Trying to get everything in there.
He's bad. Oh boy.
Man, you remind me of a good friend of mine back home, Paulie Krantz.
He redneck.
He redneck? Yeah, I'll tell you what, that is a bad little dude too. He cuts trees down for a living. And he's probably 55, and you ought to see him, he can go up them trees faster than a monkey, I think.
Well,
So are you from Granite City? Are you from Granite City?
Yes.
yeah.
I have relatives.
Shut that up. My brother's a cop in Granite.
Spent all my summers in Granite City when
Really?
I was a kid.
It's terrible now.
Yeah.
Yeah, my brother works, he's a millwright at Granite City Steel. My father died at Granite City Steel.
Yeah.
I got a brother that's a cop in Granite. Yeah, that place has gone downhill big time.
My grandparents were there, and I would go spend the summer with them.
Last name?
Keel.
No relation to Harlan Keel, is it?
Absolutely.
Harlan Keel was my uncle.
Shut up! Good friends with him.
And well,
Now you want to still make fun of him?
his,
Yeah, absolutely.
we have Uncle Harlan and then Little Harlan.
Okay, and little Harlan. Harlan is probably
Musician.
63, 64, yeah.
plays
Because he
piano.
played at our church. I've been playing harmonica for 33 years, and I used to play at church, but I was in the St. Louis area. I played in so many bands.
What's your
at all the
name, so I
wineries.
can
My
tell
last
him?
name's Maui, Brian Maui.
Okay.
Yeah, me and Harlan are very good friends.
Awesome.
And I've known Harlan for 40 years.
It's a small world.
Yeah, because he had a sister named Terry, and she died of leukemia.
She was my age.
Yeah, because I remember doing car washes and fundraisers. Let me tell you what, very small world.
Yes.
What a trip, man. You said Keel, it's like, oh yeah.
So now you don't have to talk slow anymore.
No, because she's listening and she'll translate for me. Now you guys, if you get a chance after you end up leaving a bus or walking around today and you go past nature gates, walk in them double doors and make a real hard right U-turn. I'm telling you, there's a 12-minute video inside of this white portion of the building here that will explain everything that they're doing up on the mountain with the tools, because it's footage of it. It's very interesting. And then you can walk out onto the veranda, because out on the veranda there's a 1/34th scale in plaster of what this mountain's going to look like.
And so in the video, we're going to take you along on the first tour that we took, and that was a tour just around the bottom of the mountain. And we did that one afternoon and found out that we could go on top of the mountain. So the next day we went back and took the tour on the top. So we are here at the Crazy Horse Memorial, and we are in one of the museums. So lots of Indian artifacts in here, and we're waiting. In just a few minutes, we're going to go on top of the mountain and take a tour from the top. Here at the property, they also have an Indian museum, and it is designed to complement the story that's told on the mountain of Crazy Horse. So as you can see, this is only one room of many that they have here that you can tour the ancient Indian artifacts. Also, there's lots of information. There's a theater where you can watch a video of when they started constructing the Crazy Horse Monument, and that is still under construction and will be under construction for several years. And we're going to the top. We're going to see what those workers are doing up there and get the view from the top. Very fascinating, the work that's going on here. And that the children have continued this throughout the years to make this possible. So for all you youngsters out there, I probably won't ever be able to view it when it's completed, but it will be here for your children and your grandchildren.
Don't forget to subscribe and like and
hit the notification bell. You don't want to miss Soaring Together.
But the second day, we found out the first day that we could literally go up on top of the mountain. There again, it cost something, but what in life don't today. But we figured it's a once-in-a-lifetime thing, so you get a whole different perspective of it on top, obviously, versus even down below in the bus, or most especially if you just ride by it on the highway. But there we had another awesome guide as well, and he too was, actually he was doing some schoolwork there. Me and Don like to cut up, and Don asked him a few questions he couldn't answer, and we just had a great time. And he was an awesome guide as well. And may not should say this, but I thought it was kind of funny. My wife's putting her hand on me, telling me to be still. But 10 years, they say that, you know, hopefully the finger and the hair, and they're moving faster now than obviously they were.
Modern technology is helping them
to face it a lot faster than they were before. But anyway, the truck go by. That's what happens in the park. But anyway, when we got back, he said, you know, in 10 years, you know, the finger should be done and all. And he said, for you two, it will be the middle finger.
As you can see, it is very large. The face says 87.5 feet tall. The arm is outstretched 263 feet long. Anyways, guys, so here's Crazy Horse's face, and of course you see his arm stretched out here. Just above that red platform, there's a yellow crane, and in between there's a piece of white sticking out. That is his pointer finger. It's 27 feet long. He's pointing out over the Paha Sapa, which is what the Lakota call the Black Hills here. Crazy Horse was an Oglala Lakota. Oglala was his band, and Lakota was the language that they spoke. It was the derivative of the Dakota language. You'll hear him referred to as the Sioux sometimes. They got that name from the Ojibwe, or the Chippewa Indians, because the Lakota were originally from that area. During the 1700s, when the Europeans showed up, they started pushing themselves further. They got started getting pushed further west. Ready to
One thing that I found was interesting is they don't know exactly what he looked like. Not even his tribal members, the oldest one that they have talked to. So this is just kind of what they think he may look like. There was something that happened in the carving, and it looks like a scar over his eyebrow, and I asked about it while we were up on top, and they said it was just something that happened during the blast, and so they just left it.
But then later they found out that the Crazy Horse Warrior actually did have a scar on his face.
So are those scars over his eyes?
That's the second ironic part of Crazy Horse's face there. That was not intentional. They blasted into an area of schist mica, which is a real soft rock.
Gotcha.
And they were going to plaster it over, but I don't know if you guys know a lot about the history of Crazy Horse. Crazy Horse, he was smitten on a young lady, and his tribe was not allowed to marry her because of tribal customs. She ended up with another fellow named No Water. And No Water apparently was a kind of a abusive fellow, or we don't really know the story behind it. But anyways, one day she ended up on a buffalo hunt with Crazy Horse and his family. And when No Water found out, he wasn't too happy about it and shot Crazy Horse in the face.
So this mountain is over 6,500 foot tall, and it ranks 27th highest mountain in South Dakota.
If by chance we put y'all on YouTube, she's got a little YouTube channel. Is that okay?
Oh, is that right? What's your YouTube channel?
I'll give you a card
Okay,
here.
sounds good.
Yeah.
Too. What's your name?
Yeah, there you go.
Last name?
Brian.
Ryan.
Yeah. Lindsay and Tom.
Yeah.
Harrison, Joseph, and Mila.
And you're from Wisconsin, correct?
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
What do I do with Wisconsin then?
So you guys RV around?
Yeah.
So that's a long way down there, isn't it? What do you think about it? You think it's cool?
Harrison, you see our car? You can't really see our car, but that's where we parked right there.
Yeah.
That's where we were looking out. That's the visitor center right there. So we drove all the way up that road and all the way back
Didn't
around.
do anything this fancy, but I worked in a rock quarry for 40 years.
So
Yes.
you're probably familiar with these lines right here.
Yes.
Then, you know, up until about 3 or 4 years ago, that's how most of this work was done. Drill 2 inches, drill 2 inches, drill underneath same way, and then crowbars, break them out. Yeah, take you 2 weeks to get 20 tons of rock out here. Now we have those pulleys right there, and then behind you, you'll see that yellow rope up on the fence. That's a diamond braided rope. It'll cost you about $70 a foot. And right now they're working on the knuckle on the finger, and they're working on the fingernail.
So cool.
Well, one thing that I found interesting, a lot of things I found interesting about it. Of course, a lot of folks says it hasn't changed a lot in the last few years. But they working in a rock quarry, round blasting and all, they're using equipment today, obviously, to face it like nothing that I'd seen. The first afternoon, like she said, we rode in the bus. The family that started it all, if you don't know about that, I encourage you to find out about it, because it's very fascinating to me, and how a family took up more or less a calling to get this done, and how that generations later is carrying on that calling. It's not government funded, and that's, you know, people said they've made it a tourist attraction, and that is true to a point, but they have to generate revenue some way to be able to continue the
And we also found out that 2 of the workers on top of the mountain are actually grandchildren of the gentleman that actually started the monument,
Yes.
started building the monument.
Yes.
June, what was your favorite part about the mountain?
Turning around and seeing
The face.
the face the first time, like the guys yesterday said.
That's what I was going to say.
I think it was cool that we stood on the finger.
Yeah, you could actually see the hand. It's taking shape.
And standing on the
And just
finger.
getting so close to that face.
Yeah.
And the arm, you could see the bone in the arm.
The scars on his face.
Oh yeah, that was cool how it accidentally happened.
Yeah.
It's all on good for it.
What was your favorite part about the mountain, sir?
Being with all you people.
Oh, lovely.
That's the second one you've told today, dude.
And he's got a brown nose.
It is very interesting to me, and he's pointing
Toward his tribal
toward
land.
the heels of his people.
So one interesting fact that I want to leave you with, an aerial view or GPS view shows that the Black Hills are the exact shape of the human heart. Over 65 million years in age, the Black Hills are the oldest mountain region in the nation with an important spiritual meaning. So when I heard this, they were talking about the Sequoia Indians and how the Black Hills Mountains were such a part of their heart and such a spiritual meaning for them. Little did they know, because years ago they probably didn't have an aerial view of it to see what we see today, that this mountain region is in fact the shape of a human heart.
We'd just like to end by saying that we did have a wonderful time at Crazy Horse. The second day, Kevin and June drove their truck and met us there, and then Don and Kathy and me and Denise, we all went up and toured the face of Crazy Horse, and like I say, being up on it totally made a big difference. It's a lot larger, up close, obviously, than it is from a distance. But there again, meeting folks and enjoying time together and being able to enjoy not only what the Lord has given us in nature, but what man is endeavoring to make memorials and make memories for if the Lord's will, generations to come. So there.
And I got to bring back some rock from the top of Crazy Horse.
Yeah, we just all excited about getting some rocks. I've only done that for 40 years.
But I can give the rocks to my grandkids, and one day, if their grandkids get to see Crazy Horse completed, then they can say that their great-great-great-grandma brought them rocks from Crazy Horse.
Yeah.
So again, this memorial is in the Black Hills in Custer County in South Dakota. If you're ever in this area of Rapid City, be sure and go by and tour the Crazy Horse, because all visitors become part of history in the making. Well, we appreciate you joining us, and be sure and like and subscribe to our channel so you won't miss out on our craziness as we are
Soaring together.